Okay, here we are again. Stephen follows instructions. We're doing part 4 of my presentation, Build a REST app with Node.js, Express, and MySQL. I'm just trying to find the URL for the live stream. Should pop up here anytime now. I want to find it so that I can share it. There it is, and I am actually live. 4 of my presentation, Build a REST app. Okay, so I'll close that so I don't create a whole bunch of echoing. And now I'll just share live on YouTube part 4 of my Node.js Express app on Reclaim. Okay, correct all my spelling mistakes right now. All right, and I'll also tweet that. I don't know if I'll get any viewers, but at least they'll have the chance, right, to watch, and that's all I can ask for. And if nobody watches, that's cool. I'm used to doing live stream broadcasts, used to doing live things with no audience. I ran a radio station for many years with no audience, so there you have it. All right, so I'll read the comments that are on Twitter later. Who knows what they are. And okay, so no new comments on Mastodon, which has been a bit hit and miss today. So, okay. All right. So, and that's a link that I did earlier, and we're just going to clear off some of this stuff. Yeah, I know I should do that before the video, but, each day I was looking at, which is pretty cool stuff. All right, so build a REST AI. Okay, I had a horrible time yesterday. Nothing worked. Just did not work. And I was trying to follow this article from Taylor Jadin, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So, and just disaster. Nothing worked. Here's, it just didn't work. So, I'm going to leave this up for now. And what I'm going to do is run a few experiments. So, the first experiment I'm going to run is to see if I can just run the default Node.js application that's in here under SSL. So I'll create a new environment. Okay, there it is. I'm not even going to worry about databases and stuff, but I'm going to click on the SSL link to start. Turn on the little button. Okay. So I'm not going to do anything custom. Just going to use it on the shared load balancers. And now I know from previous experience that when this runs, I should get that drawing tool, and I should get it under SSL, which means using the HTTPS. So I'm just going to click create, and it's going to do its thing. So it's busy creating. So 203-4309. It's like a phone number, right? 203, and never mind. All right. So while that's loading, I did some thinking about this, and I did some background reading, and most especially, that's not it. Yeah, that's not it either. Where did I go? Here we go. I went to the Virtuoso website. Virtuoso is the application that supports all of this stuff that I've been working with, and specifically this PaaS products, Platform as a Service. Used to be called Gelastic, now it's Virtuoso PaaS, and boy, that's really rotten usability. Yeah, see, there's a little faint line there right above the V. And then, okay, I'm getting distracted. So I read flipped through the documentation. So we'll go back to where I started. So here we go. These are the Virtuoso Pass documents. So I got to that by clicking on here, Dev Docs. And so here, then I selected, could have looked at other stuff, but I went straight to Node. And all of this stuff, see, here's our environment that I've just been working with. So all of this stuff we've done already, even the SSL. Okay, there's some domains management stuff that I didn't use, some scaling, etc. Okay, and then I went to the next page, but I see this thing has loaded. So let's see if our test is working. So we'll come back to the environment. So here it is. Okay, so I'll just say Node.js test. All right, we'll call it that. All right, so now what should happen is I can access that game thing straight from the browser. So let's try opening it in the browser. All right, there it is. And yes, it's HTTPS. So out of the box, nothing changes. HTTPS works. So there's nothing that they're doing wrong with that. It's all me. All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's that experiment. Successful. Let's close that. Let's kill this test. We don't need it anymore. And I know it might seem like I'm just wasting resources, but I'm not really. The resources I'm wasting are all these other environments I have that are running or stopped that I'm not doing anything with. But so what? Well, yeah, I do have to watch my balance. Especially recently, I've been kind of burning it at both ends. All right, so that's the first experiment. Second experiment. I'm going to follow Taylor's method exactly. I'm going to install Foundry on Reclaim Cloud. I'm going to do exactly what he does. And the reason why is this. When I was looking at the documentation, so here we go. So what's next? Setting up environment. All right, so I read through that, and it tells me all this stuff, and this applies to, Node or whatever, any of these applications. Configuring the topology, so databases, shared storage. I'm not worried about any of that at this point in time. Eventually, yeah, I will be. Probably. Okay. So, etc., etc. Let's encrypt SSL. I've used that before in other projects. Okay. So keep going. So reviewing, confirming, and then I create my environment. You've seen me do that a bunch of times now. And what's next? Now here's where I've been being brain dead. Okay, not brain dead, but being an old fart who's still in the, write some script in a notepad editor and upload it using FTP and make it run school, right? There's another stage. And the other stage is deploying the application. So this is, frankly, something that I've just completely ignored in the past. You saw me before, right? In the early version of this series, setting up FTP with SSL so that I could upload all my stuff, and all my roots and stuff. So, but that's not how this is supposed to work, right? Here's how it's supposed to work. Me as a developer, I develop my software on my own machine, probably with my own version of Node running, and my own database right on my computer at localhost. I might set up a local environment to do that, especially if I'm working in Python. I'll have to, but I just do that on my own machine. Then I upload my code to GitHub or someplace, right? And then the deployment stage is where that code, wherever it is retrieved from the service, and the system takes care of putting it where it's supposed to go. So here we have deployment, right? So could use it using an archive or a URL, or from Git or SVN, which is old and hardly anyone uses it anymore, or a hub registry, and then you can use your plugins, whatever, right? So, and that is what Taylor does here. And so I just ignored all of that part because I wasn't doing it that way. Well, I should be doing it that way, and that's the point. So, lesson learned. So let's go through Taylor's thing point for point. We'll see if it works. I wonder if I have any. Is there anybody seeing this big, huge lesson that I've been learning here? I'm just looking for my. Oh, there it is. Live stream. We had someone and they got bored and left. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we'll go back to Reclaim, and we'll go back to Taylor's thing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to install Foundry on Reclaim Cloud. I have zero interest in Foundry, but fine. Foundry Virtual Tabletop is an excellent self-hostable virtual tabletop tool. You use it to play tabletop role-playing games with other folks over the internet. Check the link if you're interested. It is a paid Node.js application that you can run on your own computer or on a server. So this isn't a tutorial on Foundry. That's fine. And again, I don't care about Foundry. I want to cover the basics and the Reclaim Cloud specific things that you will need if you don't want to have to worry about manually starting the Foundry application every time you restart a container. Foundry's own install guide doesn't really cover this. You can also run Foundry in Reclaim Cloud using Docker containers, but there are no officially maintained containers at this time. And I found issues with the Foundry plugin compatibility using Docker, so I went with the method below. So let's go with the method below. First, make a new environment, select Node at the top, enter your environment name, and set your cloudlets how you'd like them. So the cloudlet is the size, right? So let's do that. So we'll make a new environment. Now you see, this is why you have to read, right? You will also likely want to hit the SSL button. Remember, I had so much trouble with this trying to figure out where it is. There it is, gray on gray up there. And enable built-in SSL. Okay, so let's do that. So there's no database or anything like that. That's also why I didn't follow his instructions, right? There's no database. So let's go to Reclaim Cloud, new environment, Node, there. We're going to start. It's exactly what we did last time, right? And we're going to click SSL, which will enable, and we'll create. That seems to be what he is saying. So it's actually, and just as an aside, is it easier to, and while this is loading, is it easier to read the instructions like this as paragraphs and maybe an image, right? Or is it easier to read them as step-by-step point form? I think it's the latter, step-by-step point form, because it's really easy, especially for a sloppy reader like me, to just gloss over a paragraph because it's just this big mass of text. But if you're going step by step, really hard to skip a step. Also, there's a lot of other discussion here. Now, I know, I get it. he's not necessarily writing a help me guide here. He's got things to say, and that's fine. But it detracts, right? It's they would call it, the direct instruction people would call it cognitive load, right? And he's adding cognitive load. And yeah, if the only thing you want out of this article is to know how to set up this environment, yeah, cognitive load. But there's other things. Anyhow, so I've done that. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is get rid of the sample node application that comes pre-installed. Click the web SSH button and run this command in your Foundry container. So I have to keep in mind, it's a Foundry is the name of the application. That's why he's calling it a Foundry container. Okay. Nomenclature matters. So I just got the notice, you probably saw it there. The new container has been created. So I'll copy this instruction. Just clicking on the copy button didn't seem to work yesterday, so I'm going to do that. So I'll go in here. So which one was just created? Probably this one, right? Let's just verify by checking in my email. New environment, that's the one I created just a moment ago. I'll delete that email. This is the one I've just created now. 961953. Let's find it here in my reclaim window. 961953. That's it. Foundry, so I don't lose it ever, and I'll know that yes, I can delete this. All right, so we SSH, click the web SSH button and run this command in your Foundry container. Now, it's a bit vague here, but we'll notice there is no SSH button here. There is one down here. There's none down there. So there's actually one here and one here. I believe these are probably the same. Oh, that's open in browser. So I believe these are probably actually the same, but I'll go with the top one because I always go with the top one. So I've opened the web SSH, connecting, waiting for response. Here we go. And now here's the command, exactly as he typed it. Notice yesterday I just removed the entire root directory and then discovered I actually do kind of need the directory. So rm-r, etc. root. All right. So the root directory, you see, is still there. Root, all in capital letters. But if we went into it, I'm not going to, but if we went into it, we would find it's empty. There's no contents in it. All right, what's next? Now you'll need to log into the Foundry website and get your temporary download link for the Linux version of Foundry. Then we're basically going to follow the instructions on the Foundry website. Okay. Oh, okay, so his deployment is to use wget. So forget everything I just said about GitHub, but that's fine. So let's go into the Foundry website. So I've never been there, so I'll look for Foundry. I'll try to spell it correctly. Okay, Foundry. Oh, no, that's not it. It's this one. Foundry Virtual Tabletop Home. Okay. So, we'll accept the cookies because, yeah, we're just like that. See if I can go with the demo. Okay, it wants me to, okay. Do I have to purchase this to make it work? $50, that's more than I want to pay just to test something out. Okay, I might not actually be able to test this. I didn't realize, because again, big paragraphs of text, I didn't realize I would have to pay money. Web demo, home purchase, release notes, knowledge base. Right. If I register, I don't want to use Patreon. Well, this isn't good. Right. Foundry website download URL. Let's see if I can't find a download URL for Foundry. Is there a search? Don't see one. Log in, register, home purchase, search. Let's try download. Okay. Download and install. Installation guide. All right, so when you launch it, it'll ask for a license key. That's fine. So maybe if I can download it and get it to ask me for a license key, that's everything I want to do. So let's try to find a download link. Oh, to download, you must be a software license owner. And I'm not going to pay $50 just to test this. I'm not made of money, so okay. So much for that idea. That was a good idea, but I'm not going to be able to do it. So, all right, let's kill this application. Actually, let's not. Let's just leave it for a second. Okay. I've forgotten the name of this. Virtuoso. Node.js application example. Okay. Node.js. Okay. All right, so there's a few here. Let's pick brackets at complete random. As an open source code editor. All right, that sounds like fun. Create an environment, deploy brackets via GitHub, launch the application. Okay, so create a new environment. Okay. Proceed to creating a Node.js by clicking on the corresponding tab. Node will already be chosen by default. Define the resource limits. Type in your environment name, for example, brackets. Oh, you can actually type. Oh, yeah, you type it in down there. Oh, okay. Didn't know you could do that. So let's kill this. Now I'm going to kill this, right? All right. Okay, delete. Okay, so Node and MySQL, Node, leftish media. See, I want to be careful not to delete stuff I'm using. That's my MOOC. That's my leftish blog. So these are stuff that matters to me. These are things that matter to me. All right, whatever. Okay, so new environment. Choose Node. Okay. Okay, well, bracket. There we go. And brackets plural. Okay. So the scaling, they went with 16 up to 32. So yeah, let's below the budget. 16 up to 32. All right. Probably don't need that, but it's still only going to cost me a couple dollars a day. All right. So I've picked Node. Did they specify a specific one? I don't see it specified here. All right, and then just like they do there, I'll type brackets down here. It's going to check, is that available? Yes, it is. Oh, that's so cool. And now do I create? And now click create. Okay, so let's do that. Create. In just a moment, and it's a bit faster because we're not setting up a database thing. It still may take several minutes. So come back here to the instructions, which I'm following because that's the whole theme of this. Just a minute, your environment will appear at the dashboard. Okay, now deploy brackets via GitHub. So once you've got the base for your own brackets installation, in other words, once this thing is installed in the form of a suitable environment, let's deploy this code editor, that is to say brackets, to it. Since it's an open source project, we can find it at GitHub. Therefore, we need to copy the Git repository link. So let's just take a quick look to see what we're actually going to be bringing into our website. Brackets. Assume this is it. Brackets. Cont. An open source. Oh, okay, here we go. Brackets dash cont. Okay, I wonder if this URL is out of date. Well, we'll find out. Let's check the URL in the article. Okay, I'll just click on this. Nope, there it is, brackets server. So brackets cont, brackets server. Interesting. Okay, so I don't need that. So this is the thing that I'll be doing, and this is the URL. So I've copied that URL. I see my environment is up and running. Doesn't take long, so let's go back to my instructions. Okay. So I've copied it. Copy to clipboard. Copy this to clipboard. It might be the same thing, but let's see. It's right beside where it says branch master, etc. Master code. So the instructions are a bit different here. I've always figured I can just bracket server.get. Okay, so this has got to be it. HTTPS, right? SSH. That'll be a curl. All right, so this is our actual URL that we're using. You notice it's exactly the same as bracket server up here, except it has .get on it. And that's why that was important to check that, I think. Right, so instead of just copying this URL, we're going to get it from here. Okay. Now return to the platform dashboard and select the Add Project button. This is new. Add Project button for your Node.js application server. Okay, so I can probably add more than one thing, right? I don't see it. Is it down here? Okay, let's pause, go back and see what it looks like. It's that little square box beside the node, right beside the wrench. The little square box. I don't have a little square box. Oh. Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? Okay, I'm going to take a guess here and say that instead of the little square box, maybe the environment has changed a bit. Okay, I don't need that anymore. So, you see, this is where things get annoying, right? Here I am using the documentation from the application I am actually using, and there's an icon that should be there between the wrench and the little piece of paper, and it's not there. And you sort of want to pull out your hair because it should be there. But here we have Add Project, and here's the URL and the other stuff. Now I think I can get to that. As I said, where'd it go? In deployments, see this, clicking that box probably would have opened this, and then these are all going to be this, it's the same interface, it just opens a different default window, right? So here's the repository, so I'm going to add a new repository. Okay, so add new repository. Here we go. There it is. Branch master. Don't need to use authentication for that. So I'm going to add this. And, oh, okay. Duh. Put the URL in here. And the name is brackets. How's that? Okay. And this is actually a project name, so that's good. Now I'll click add. And all right, so now I've got this one. I could probably add more repositories. Auto resolve conflicts just in case I'm importing a bunch of stuff, right? Okay, and now let's see what else they say here. See, it's sort of similar, sort of different. I don't have this environment path that I can specify. I can't check and auto deploy updates. These things aren't here. I don't know why they're not here. It's a question I can ask Reclaim about. Maybe they need to, maybe it's a version thing. Maybe it's they need to flick a switch. I don't know. All right. And then wait a minute for your brackets project to be built and deployed. So let's see what happens when I click on deploy. All right, so it's updating. It is going into root. So we know from before that root is the default. Okay, warning, authentication failed. We're trying to update root project. Deploy authentication. Yeah, okay. So, let's pop into it with SSH. Okay, let's go into root. brackets. So it's saying authentication failed while trying to update project. Not sure what would have happened, but here is all the stuff for bracket. We'll recognize some of the stuff like package.json, Docker, okay, index.js. So it does use index.js and not server.js. So let's pretend those errors didn't happen and continue on. All right, launch the application. Okay, click the config button for your Node.js, right? So we have environment, deployment, and now launch. Okay. Okay, so I do know I have one of the wrench icons. So here we go. There's the wrench. Really bothers me that I don't have the little box. Okay. And this sends me to configs. Okay. Through the opened configuration manager, navigate to package.json in the webroot root and add the next strings to its script section. So we'll copy these. All right, so we'll navigate to package.json inside the webroot root. Okay, so okay, well, it's right here, right? Okay, so it's not in webroot root, it's in, well, it's webroot. See, this is kind of tricky, right? It says webroot. Webroot is just a placeholder for whatever your webroot happens to be. In our current installation, webroot is, as we saw, home Gelastic. Could be home anything, but it's home Gelastic and then root. I should be able to find the package JSON file. There it is. I'll click on it, and can I edit it? I can download, add to favorites, add to volumes, open. Okay, let's try opening it and see what happens. Loading, open, okay. I'm assuming this is an editor of sorts. I'll just give myself a bit more to see here. Okay, so and add the next strings to its scripts section about the 69th line. So let's scroll down. It'll be around the 69th line. There's okay, it's actually 72. So we'll add these to the script. So put a comma here. And there we go. Start and pre-start. And we'll remove the comma at the end of the line. And we don't need that extra line. So okay, so we've added start and then pre-start sudo npm install brackets. Oh, okay. It's interesting. No problem. All right. So, and brackets must be available here. Keywords. Well, okay. Now, how do I save this? It's still authentication there, still failing. Save. Okay, so I'll save that. Access denied. Please check permissions for the appropriate directory. Okay, so that's interesting. So let's check the permissions. Here we are. So let's go up. ls-l. So root is owned by, okay, root owns root. So maybe I need to change it to Node.js, right? So chown recursively Node.js root invalid option R. Okay. All files. Okay. Capital R. All right, let's try capital R. Operation not permitted. Why? Let's try do this and then sudo sorry, try again. So I can't do that either. So I can't change the owner. I don't know what the root password is on this thing. Is it in my email? Doesn't say access environment via SSH. I think that's okay. Web SSH. Capistrano. Well, this is annoying. Alright, then the only other thing I could do, well, I was able to remove the directory before, right? So let's see if I can't remove the directory. Okay, so rm, so I'm gonna wipe everything out. We'll probably have to reload this again. rm-r root yes. So see rm-big R root rm-r force root. Can't remove it, permission denied. Well, all of this, I could do all of this before. How weird. Huh. cd root. Yeah, all of that is root. Yeah. Everything there is done by root, but it means that Node can't do anything to any of it. Yeah, that's a real problem. Um, I'll bet you I might be the first person to have tried this. All right, let's kill this environment. And we'll try again. Delete. Okay, new environment. All of this, scale it all the way up again, just like before. 16, because we'll just go wild with our spending. Put the SSL on just in case we manage to make it work. Okay, we're going to call it brackets again. Is there anything about ownership anywhere on here? I don't see anything, right? So let's create it. There's nothing about permissions in here either, is there? Oh, I didn't see anything. No. I mean, it's possible that there's a glitch with the installation. It's possible these instructions are out of date. Wait until brackets is successfully installed. That's past where we were. Okay. So still waiting for it to. So what I plan to do this time is, before anything, I'm just going to remove the existing root directory if I can. I was able to do that yesterday, so I should be able to do it today, right? You would think. Unless something weird happened. So let's clean up the email from these two environments because they no longer exist. And we'll come back here. Oops, not to there. I don't need that. There we go. There's our new reclaimed cloud environment. Brackets created. So there it is. So let's go into it right away with SSH. Connecting. Right, so rm dash rf root ls dash l. Right. So it's gone now. Now, let's follow the additional instructions. Okay, so we're on to deployments, right? And deploying from Git. Brackets is already there because I added it as a repository before. Could check and deploy updates, but we don't need to do that. Just click deploy. Let's see if I get any errors this time. Well, not so far. Nope, still getting errors. That's not a good sign. It does say it's deployed. And update from Git, right? So, and edit. You can edit it. Okay, so it's the same thing as before. Cancel. All right. So I'm probably not going to be able to edit the file either. Config. root, and package JSON, and open. And I'll get those two lines from before. Okay. And we'll come back to the environment. Just give myself again a bit more room to operate. Should be at line 72 again. So there they are. I put them in at the start, so I don't need to mess around with comments or with commas. Okay, I'm probably not supposed to use a tab there, am I? I know it's a minor point, but all right, let's see if I can save. Access denied. Now let's go out, come back in, and open it up again. Why am I doing that? Because maybe the error wasn't actually an error. Ah, you see? That's weird. It says authentication failed while trying to update project environment, but there is the script, right? And if we go into the SSH, right, cd root. Oh, let's first of all ls-l. Let's see. Right, so it's still running as root, right? That shouldn't be. I don't think that the function in Gelastic should be running as root, or the function in whatever it is. cd root ls-l. Yeah, see, everything here is owned by root. And let's look at the package.json. So I'm looking for the scripts. Yeah, and you see the scripts did not in fact get installed there. So this is going to fail. Because we're not going to be able to make it work. If I try to run it, let's try to load it, open in browser. See, nothing. So that's a problem. I don't know how to fix that. Can I edit it using the SFTP? Close these off. I'm just going to close all of these off. Close. Don't think I can just SFTP into it. Oh, well. Okay, well, let's do it this way. Then. I mean, we're likely to have all kinds of problems from now on, right? So, I'll just go nano package.json. Scroll down to the scripts. And should be close. There we go. save this. Control X. And yes. Error writing permission denied. Still. Oops. X. We won't save the bug. Okay, CD. I'm just going to go up. LS. So now I'm going to make a directory. Just a test directory. ls-l. Right. So I'm currently in here as Node.js. I don't know why. Although it does make sense to me that I would be. But the environment is running as root. And that seems to me to be a problem. And I don't know of any way of fixing that. I can't make the environment run as something that's not root. And I can't take things that the environment has done and fix them after unless I become root. But I need a password. And there is no password. Let's try this. Create a password for root. Type the command password. Sudo -i or sudo password root. Let's try. It won't work, but let's try. Password for Node.js. There isn't gonna be one, is there? Is there, because it wants me to use the keys. So that's an environment via SSA. Well, no, that's just generic. That's not going to be for me specifically. Following the guide. Is this the same guide that we were using? Does appear to be, yeah. Click deploy to initiate the process. All right, I can't fix this. I don't know my way through it. Nope, haven't a clue. Just checking the chat to see if there are any suggestions, but I don't see any. Well, I thought this might work, but it didn't. All right, you know what? I'm going to give up on Gelastic or Scuzzo or whatever you call it, Virtuoso. Uh, the documentation doesn't match, and the application doesn't manage its permissions properly. That might be the application's fault, or it might be Reclaim's fault. I really don't know. Um, but yeah, doesn't work. Simply doesn't work. Repository settings have been updated. Oh yeah, no, that's no problem. It's configure deployment to your needs. All right, now they're talking about authentication for the repository. This is, again, accessing a private repository. It has nothing to do with the permissions. Okay, well, I'll log the problem with Reclaim. We'll see what they say, and see if they can duplicate the problem. If they can, then it can be fixed on their end, and if they can't, then the problem is me, which is entirely possible, right? You've seen how sloppy I am. Um, so yeah, that's all I can do from here. So I'm going to stop here with this, and we'll finish off. Talk to you next time.